Hola, it's Avi, aka Octavia Steen, natural fertility doula, health coach, and creator of the faith based business Mother Mindset. Welcome to the Fertile Faith Podcast, a podcast that helps women of God who are trying to get pregnant naturally to overcome negative thoughts and balance her hormones so she no longer has to be overwhelmed and consumed by her TTC journey. I'm so glad that you're here, sis. I can't wait to dive into this episode.
Hello, Fertile Faith Sisters. Today we're talking about planning in 2025, fertility planning in 2025 with God, right? We do nothing without Him. We would be nothing without Him. And so I wanted to talk about fertility planning. And January is the month of planning, the month of goals, right? What we're going to do for the rest of the year for 2025. In most people's cases, right? You're thinking about resolutions, you're thinking about your goals, you're thinking about plans for the rest of the year. And why not put fertility planning into that? And so, you know, maybe you're even wondering if making plans means you're not fully trusting God, or you maybe feel guilty about planning your fertility journey, or maybe you're even just hesitant, like a hesitant feeling balancing the planning with your faith, right? Balancing planning and faith. And the thing is, I experienced this in my own journey of, okay, how do I plan versus should I just let it go? Let go and let God, right? We hear that all the time, let go and let God. Even in some women's journeys, I know that you've probably heard, well, stop trying and it'll happen. Similar to that, right? And I can tell you, as a type A-ish personality, I like to plan. I like to have things planned out. I like to have a boom, boom, boom. This is what you do. This is how you do it. And this is when it needs to be done. That's how I work. I work off of Excel spreadsheets. I have too many to even name right now. And because of that, because of just my own personality with fertility planning, I know that there's someone out there like me who needs a set plan, who needs like a to walk this out in a planning phase, but wants to learn how to do it with God, right? It's not necessarily about letting it go, like letting your fertility journey go, but more about planning for the future as it aligns with God's will, right? Planning along with the Lord so that you can fully give yourself to Him as He directs your steps, right? As He directs you in this process. And as far as planning goes and letting go, planning versus letting go, there is there's an instant. I guess you could do both, right? Because you have to think about letting go. I know that there have been times where maybe you wanted to take a break from your fertility journey, or maybe not necessarily want to take a break, maybe you just wanted to stop and give up altogether. I I hit that wall in my own fertility journey. But then I realized, maybe that wasn't realization, maybe it was through prayer. Can't remember, but I had a realization through prayer, through something. The Lord showed me in some way that letting go and giving up the wasn't the solution, right, to what I was struggling with, because the things I was struggling with in my fertility journey would not only because my focus was on my fertility journey, that thing that I was struggling with would just translate and transition into other parts of my own journey, right? Other parts of my life, right? I had to let go of doubt. Yes, I had doubt in my fertility journey, doubt that, God would do it for me like He did for other people, doubting in my own ability, doubting in a just I could just there's a whole list, and I'm sure you've had your list of doubts as well. But also I had to let go of doubt. I had to let go of and not only let go, but break generational curses over my bloodline. I had to really let go of the trauma that I had experienced prior to getting married. I had to let go of a lot of these negative things, a lot of these things that the enemy, put on me in my time with him, right? Before I came to the Lord, I had to let a lot of that go. Not necessarily letting go of my fertility journey because that wasn't the solution. That wasn't the problem. The problem was I was stuck in the past. The problem was I was stuck in my past self in regards to I was stuck in the habits, stuck in the um just in I guess the mindset even of how the enemy just really got on me in my mindset during that time, and was something that I need to strengthen in the Lord and not in my own strength. I hope that makes sense, but I went from that, letting go of those doubts, letting go of that trauma, and really embracing fertility planning, embracing it with prayer, embracing, planning out my meals to honor, the body that God gave me, planning out, the habits that would serve my body, right, during this time, and really allowing myself to dive deeper with the Lord as it pertains to, um, deeper with the Lord as it pertains to my faith and my body, right? In a way that aligns with his will for my life. And so that's why I want to share 5 ways to plan your fertility, right? 5 ways to uh, plan your fertility while keeping God at the center. And really, this faith and fertility can coexist. Faith and action really can coexist as well, because faith without works is dead. We know that it's in the word. Faith without works is dead. But the first way that you can do some fertility planning in 2025 is by first, say it with me, prayer. Say it with me again, prayer. You can start with surrender prayer. And so, surrender is something we talk about inside of my fertility mindset mentorship, my fertility community. And it's phase 2 in my fertility success course inside the membership. And with that, when we talk about surrender, it doesn't mean giving up, but it's trusting God's overarching plan, like his ultimate plan. It's trusting God's ultimate plan. And surrender is handing that over, right? Whatever it is that you are dealing with, it's handing it over to God. Surrender is giving into God's authority, right? Giving into his will and submitting your fertility journey, right? Submitting that fertility journey over to him. That doesn't mean that you're giving up, right? But it's a submission. It's a, Lord, this is your body. Lord, this is your fertility journey. I'm handing this over to you, God. And I am a willing vessel, whatever it is that you want me to do, whatever it is that you want me to say to my husband, whatever it is that you wanted me to say to these people who keep asking when I'm going to have some babies, right? Lord, I'm giving this over to you because I cannot do it in my own strength. That is what this is. And Proverbs 16:9 says, that we can make our own plans. We can make our own plans. We can be our own type A personality, have our own Excel sheet, and all of the things. But it is the Lord who directs our steps. The Lord will continue to direct your steps as long as you continue to submit that over to him. It's like I think about, when I think about prayer and the surrender prayer, right? Surrendering this over, submitting this to God, I think about like filling out a form. For example, if you fill out a form on my website, let's say that my free checklist that I have, if you fill out this free fertility checklist form, you put your name, your email, and then you press submit, right? When you push your name, you're giving God your information, right? We're speaking out and praying to Him. He knows our names, right? He knows our information. He knows everything, right? But we're still giving Him this information, and we're actively pressing the submit button to give that information over to Him, right? To give that information over to Him for Him to do with as He pleases, right? And so, every morning you could just start by saying, Lord, this is your day. This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it, Lord. But please help me, God, in directing my steps, directing the plan that I've written out, God, to align with your will, to align with your plan for my life. And really, you know, there's a time in my own journey where I had to do this, and that's how I came up with the different phases of my fertility course. And the phase surrender, it just in the middle of my journey of my miscarriage, I had a 45 plus day miscarriage. It lasted a really long time. And just throughout the bleeding, I was like, this is nonstop. This is Lord. Like, when is this going to end? I was stuck. I was right here in my prayer room, and I was praying, I was journaling, and I just got to a point in my journey where I was just crying out to the Lord, weeping to the Lord, and just asking, like, when is it going to end? When will, this stop? When will I be able to, start trying again? And, you know, he just led me to a peace and clarity in him as I surrendered that to him, right? I poured out to him. But in that pouring out, I was saying, like, Lord, this is yours. Like, I cannot do this on my own strength. This is yours. And in that, he gave me peace. He gave me clarity, right? He gave me comfort. I started to hear more from him in what he desired for me to do for my own fertility journey. And a couple months later, I was able to conceive my rainbow baby, but it wasn't until I actually surrendered that over to him and allowed him to work through me and work through my life that he was able to do that, right? That I was able to hear that from him. And you just really have to focus on trust in your prayers, your surrender prayers, versus control, right? We have to trust that the Lord will do according to his will. Yes, we have a plan, but the Lord is going to line that up with his will for our lives. But we have to continue to seek him for that. And I know surrendering can feel scary. Submitting anything can feel scary, but God's plans are, at the end of the day, God's plans are better than our own, right? Like, we have these plans that are set up in our heads, and about our fertility journeys, about our babies, about how they're going to come about our births, all these things. But at the end of the day, God's plans are so much, like, there's so much larger, so much more beautiful than we can ever imagine, right? He does exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. And so I want to encourage you to just start small. If surrendering feels overwhelming, you could just say, like, Lord, I surrender this pack of OPKs to you, right? This pack of ovulation predictor kits. Lord, I'm submitting them to you. I'm going to put them downstairs in the basement in storage, and I'm submitting that over to you. Maybe that's where you start, right? Um, all right, so moving on to way number 2 is to create a health plan, create a wisdom-based health plan. And, 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20 tells us about honoring our bodies, right? For God's glory. It says, don't you realize that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit who lives in you and was given to you by God? You do not belong to yourself, for God bought you with a high price. So you must honor God with your body. That last piece, honor God with your body. Fertility planning, to be more specific, fertility planning is about stewarding the body that God gave you. It's about stewarding the body God gave you, but not trying to control the outcome, right? But we're just stewarding what He gave us in a way that helps us honor our bodies, honor the Holy Spirit. And so, with me, for me, that meant making changes in my diet. I knew I was lactose intolerant and I shouldn't be drinking dairy or I shouldn't be eating dairy. However, your girl likes some mac and cheese. I also love ice cream. And so I know how it impacts my body. Specifically, I'm sure my hormones aren't very excited about dairy when it's introduced into my body because it causes inflammation because of my intolerance to it. And so, that's the changes that I made. After my miscarriage, I stopped eating dairy. I took out dairy. I took out, also, I didn't take out, I added more water, right, into my diet because I knew that I was dehydrated. And because I was dehydrated, all of the water that needed to go to my reproductive system was being channeled to other important places like my heart. Okay. And so, um, these small steps matter in your fertility journey. And, even if you don't see these results right away, it matters, especially if you have some intolerances that you need to weed out. And, you need to understand your body a little bit more in order for your body to be optimized for your fertility journey. All right. Godly way number 3 is to build holy habits. Build holy habits. And so holy habits are routines that honor God. Um, it the routines that keep God at the center of your journey. I'll say it like that. And so Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Right, renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And so when we think about transformation, when I think about transformation, I think about like a transformation, a physical transformation, like a before and after, a fitness journey, right? And when I think about that, I think about the discipline that it takes to transform into that body, from before into the after. And when you think about the before, you think about, someone who is not as disciplined. Maybe they gained some weight from, poor diet choices or something like that, or not exercising. And then the after picture, you see a more healthy person, more fit. They chose, the correct diet choices. They started working out 30 minutes a day, and the discipline transformed them. And that's the same way with habits that we have. We have to build discipline in the habits that are going to take us further in our fertility journeys, right? And the habits like drinking more water, and the habits like eating more whole foods, right? These types of habits, even journaling, will bring us in our fertility planning, bring us closer to a transformation that we desire. But it takes discipline, right? Because discipline will transform you. And so, um, for me, journaling was that discipline that I needed. One of the disciplines that I needed in my own journey to stay rooted in my faith and focus on the true foundation, which is Jesus, right? And so I needed to journal, and I fell in love with journaling because it helped me so much. But the enemy try to take something that you love, all right, and will try to busy you and distract you. And he's been doing that to me lately. I wrote in my journal the other day, actually yesterday, I was like, okay, enough is enough, Lord. Like, I am tired of the enemy distracting me from what I love to do, mostly just talk to the Lord, right? But I love doing that through journaling. And that's how I started my own personal journey with Jesus, is through journaling. So I actually had a member inside of the membership. She said, I also have been journaling in order to experience more of God. The changes are making a difference in my faith that God can do this, and I'm losing weight as well. She said that inside of our membership, and it's so true that journaling will help transform you and transform your mindset. So if you haven't started that, holy habits, definitely start implementing some holy habits. Way number 4 is to plan with community. Plan with community. So God didn't design us to do life or fertility alone, right? And so we have to lean on prayer partners, right? Someone to help pray you through this journey. Accountability sisters, someone who's going through this themselves and can keep you accountable to these fertility planning goals. Professional guidance if you need it, if you're looking at different fertility doctors, fertility coaches like myself, or even just a spiritual mentor like your church leaders, right? Just someone to lean on that can help you on the spiritual side, or it can help you on the physical side to get to where you want to be. And so, building a community on YouTube was how I kind of coped with my own fertility journey. It just helped me know that other women were experiencing what I was experiencing. And it just helped me even in my own journey to help encourage others. It helped me in turn. So, our fertility, I also want to mention our fertility mindset mentorship. We're actually having a goal planning session. We have monthly Zoom calls, we have monthly calls. And so our monthly call is coming up on Monday. Today is Friday that the podcast will come out. But on this coming Monday, we're having a goal planning session. So we're going to discuss, holy habits and goals to draw us closer to God, while also helping, the women in the membership prepare their bodies to conceive, right, through the planning, through the goals that we're going to set. And we're going to use this criteria, the five godly plans to help with that. So I'm excited for our call this month. So, Galatians 6:2 says, bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. Yes, we can lean on each other, right? When we are feeling burdened, we can lean on God. Obviously, we cast our cares onto him and he will care for us. So it's important to have community. And way number 5 is to schedule regular heart checks. I listened to a podcast called The Heart Dive. If you're familiar with it, it's a Bible study podcast, and it's called The Heart Dive by Kanoe Gibson. She actually has my maiden name, so maybe we're related. But she has something inside of her Bible studies where she does heart checks, right? As she's reading the Bible, she brings out different questions, different Bible study questions called heart checks. And I love that. I love that about that specific study. It can, I can journal it and do things of that nature. But, we can do that as well in our fertility journeys. It's just regular heart checks and, scheduling a time each month or each week, maybe even each day, to reflect on where we are emotionally and spiritually. Where am I placing my trust? Am I at peace with God's timing? These are just a few questions that you can ask. Like, what lies am I believing about my fertility journey, about myself, right? And all of these different heart checks, right? This is the time for self-reflection, not, pity or to put ourselves down, but it's not a time for judgment. It's about inviting God to reveal your heart, right? Inviting him to reveal what's in your heart so that he can change and help you change and transform, like we discussed. But that was 5 ways for fertility planning with God through your fertility journey. And we talked about surrendering through prayer, also talked about honoring your health, building holy habits, leading it into community, and checking our hearts regularly. So, sis, God sees you. He hears you. He hears your prayers. And he is faithful to his promises. So, you've got a community here of faithful sisters, and we're just cheering you on. But if you would like some additional help, feel free to grab my free fertility checklist at fertilitychecklist.com to help you on this journey. You can download it and start, getting some faith-centered activities into your day-to-day life for 2025. I'm so excited that you listen to this podcast, and I can't wait to see you next week. Talk then. I pray that today's episode was helpful. If it was, please leave a review to help this podcast reach other women of faith who are trying to conceive, and tag me over on Instagram at mother.mindset so I can shout you out.
I can't wait to help you pinpoint ovulation and navigate this journey with peace and confidence alongside the Lord. Blessings and baby dust.